Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. National Financial Literacy Month is celebrated in April, which is a great opportunity for us to check and promote our financial situation and skills. Joining us for the segment, we have Ben Jones, Senior Director with Nasdaq Fund Network, to discuss the basics of unit investment trusts, or what we call UITs, and how they fit into the Nasdaq Fund Network. Ben, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and let's kick it off with the basics. Explain to us what UITs are and what's the state of the industry.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Jill. So you think about a UIT, right? A unit investment trust. It's basically a type of investment company. So, similar to what you think of as an open-end fund or a closed-end fund. But what makes them different is kind of how they're structured and how they're managed. So UITs are essentially a fixed portfolio of stocks, bonds, or other securities, and they're designed to meet a stated investment objective. And, in other words, they're basically a professionally selected pooled investment vehicle. But what makes them different is that they follow a kind of a buy and hold type strategy, and they have that fixed portfolio over a specific time period. And once that time period ends, the UIT essentially terminates, and all remaining proceeds are paid to investors. And essentially, that's what makes them different, is that they have a fixed termination date that is established when the UIT is created. And then ultimately, they have that maturity date. And you typically see these maturity ranges between 13 months or even well over 2 years. When we think about the UIT, product and the structure and the wrapper, there's definitely some benefits and features to this unique investment vehicle. Transparency is a key element, right? Which is one of the reasons is that you always see that fixed portfolio. Investors know exactly what's inside that trust. You also have the same benefits that you get from a pooled investment of diversification. There's also daily liquidity. You do get professional supervision, right? You have professionally selected pooled investment vehicle. It's not going to be professionally managed like you see like an active mutual fund where you see a professional mutual fund manager, making trades, because this is a fixed portfolio over that time period, so you won't see changes. And I think another unique thing, Jill, is that you get access to focused strategies the way that those UITs are structured. You also get some of the benefits that you see from other types of investment vehicles. You get those same strategies, that same type of exposure, either defined outcome, thematics, broad equity, as well as income. Now, if we think about the state of the industry, the UIT industry is certainly smaller than what you might see in the broader open-end mutual fund complex, as well as ETFs, but it is healthy and it is growing and it is getting stronger and stronger each day. At the end of 2021, there's about over 4,000 trusts with a value close to about $94 billion. This brings it close to the numbers that we saw kind of in that 2014, 2015 timeframe. And, again, we're talking about financial literacy this month. I think it's important to see how advisors or investors are using it. And a lot of investors are using them to, fill in gaps within their portfolios because UITs provide that flexibility and that target. And also they're using it for core satellite purposes, core for like broad equity, equity income, and also satellite exposure, really targeting and making specific tactical or thematic investments.
Where can investors and advisors go to analyze and research UITs?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jill, because we think about financial literacy, and that's probably the most important thing is where can you find objective information about these types of investments, again, as you're trying to make an informed investment decision. So at the Nasdaq Fund Network, we have the NFN UIT Analytics portal. This is a portal that gives investors and advisors, as well as back office folks at broker-dealers and wirehouses, rich, deep, objective information around the UIT product and all the different products. So it is really the first of its kind in terms of a dedicated database, a dedicated website providing information and research and analytics around UITs. There's a lot of utility on this website for anyone who's looking to learn more about this space and analyze different products and compare different UITs. You can use the QR code and scan it to get access to the UIT Analytics website. It is free. Just go ahead and sign up. But I think the important thing, Jill, is investors need to make informed investment decisions. And in order to do that, you need data, you need transparency, you need to be able to analyze different investments. And the UIT Analytics platform provides that capability.
What are some unique features and tools on the Nasdaq Fund Network UIT Analytics website? How are they helpful to investors who are looking to better understand these investments?
Yeah, so when we think about analyzing investments and making decisions, right? Investors have to make that classic trade-off, right? Performance and measure that trade-off, performance and risk. And so, through the UIT Analytics website, there are a number of different tools and features where investors can compare and contrast different UITs, or maybe run a screen to look for a specific UIT that provides exposure to a specific space. And I think one of the more popular features on the UIT Analytics website is just our broad performance and risk metrics, right? So each UIT, each strategy has a unique UIT performance fact sheet, as well as strategy performance guide. Each sheet has its own list of different performance that looks at how that UIT is doing on an absolute basis, but also how that UIT is doing against the broader market, against its benchmark over different time periods. So there's some really neat, unique metrics that can be used for those that are really looking to dig deeper in terms of measuring the performance and risk of that UIT relative to the market and relative to its peers. Another feature is, again, knowing what you own is such an important part of investing. And again, I think that's one of the important features of the UIT, right? Is that you always know what's inside that UIT, what's inside that trust, and that's inside that series, because it is that fixed portfolio. But even still, you really need to have the analytics to dig a little bit deeper and truly see what's inside of it. And that's, looking at important fundamental metrics or relative risk metrics and the overall industry or sector exposure. And those type of features are available on the UIT Analytics platform, where you can really understand the UIT's composition. So that's another feature on the UIT Analytics website.
All right, Ben, we appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.